Okay, yeah, we are recording now. Okay, we are starting the quiz now. How many questions did Arjuna ask in the beginning of this chapter and what are they? 6 questions. Okay, everybody's answering 6 questions. Okay, you can raise your hands and tell me what are those questions. Who would like to tell? Anybody? Okay, Vinayak Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. It's Prakriti, the Purusha, danger, I think, and the field of knower of the field,
Hmm.
right? The knowledge, object of knowledge.
Right, right. Very nice. Okay, yeah. So Arjuna asks, what is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetra? What is Kshetrajna? What is Jnana? And what is Jnana? Right. Okay. Now, next question is, which question did Krishna answer first in verse number 2? Out of these 6 questions, which questions does Krishna answer first? No. Mm, okay. What is field? Right. Very good. है ना? He tells what is Kshetra. So that is question number 3. And then he tells what is Kshetrajna. That is question number 4. Okay. Who can tell what is Kshetra? What is Kshetra? What answer does Krishna give? Yashita, yes.
Kshetra is the body,
Right.
like the field of
And who is,
activities is the body, and the knower of the
yes,
field is two, like soul and super soul.
yes, very nice. And what are they called? Kshetrajna.
Ne, Kshetra, yes.
Yeah, Kshetrajna. Okay. Okay. Is there any analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives about Kshetrajna, the two Kshetrajnas? One is, as Yashita told, one is the soul and the other is the super soul. So, is there any analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives to explain the individual knower and the super knower? Annapurni Mataji?
Would it be the two birds sitting on a branch?
Not exactly for this shade. I mean, that is a wonderful analogy that Srila Prabhupada quotes quite often. But to explain this concept of Kshetrajna, Srila Prabhupada gives another analogy. Shilpa Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, it's an example of farmer and the king. Like the
Yeah.
king owns
Yes.
the whole town or the kingdom, and the farmer just owns one piece of land. The king
Yes.
owns the king is like a super soul who is existing in all the bodies and everything, and
Right.
the
Right.
farmer is all like body.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Then, how many elements is Kshetra made up of? How many elements is this body made up of? Does anyone know? This is from verse 6. Yashita, you want to try?
24.
Yes. And what are
So
they?
5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether.
Mm.
3 subtle mind, intelligence, and false ego. Then 5 were 5 knowledge acquiring senses:
Mm.
um,
Right.
eyes, ears, nose, skin,
Mm.
tongue.
Mm,
5 working senses,
mm,
hands, legs, voice, anus,
mm,
genitals,
mm,
and one last realm, Pradhan.
mm. Right. And 5 sense objects. That
Oh,
makes it,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
that makes it 24. Right. Very
Yes.
good. So Krishna tells about this. What is the body made up of? So body is made up of these 24 elements. Hmm. Okay. What does Krishna define as knowledge? From verse 3 and from verse 8 to 12. Astha Mataji, you want to try? What does Krishna define as knowledge? Okay. From verse 3, Krishna defines knowledge means understanding the separate existence of Lord, Jiva, and Prakriti. I mean, the Kshetra and Kshetrajna, if we know, that is knowledge, Krishna says. Okay. That means the body is different and the knower of the body is different. And there are two knowers of the body. So if we know that, Krishna says that is knowledge. And from verse 8 to 12, Krishna gives the process of knowledge. He gives 20 different processes of knowledge. Okay, so starting from amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, shantir, arjam, like that. Okay, then what is Gneya? Arjuna has asked many questions. Out of that one question is Gneya, knowable. So, what is knowable? Just like Kshetragya, there are two Kshetragyas. Like that, there are two knowables, the soul and the super soul again. Okay, the term is different. There, the term used is Kshetrajna according to, Kshetra. We say Kshetragya. Okay, there the concept is that soul knows its body and super soul knows all the body, like that. When we talk about Neya, that means knowable. Then we talk about different qualities of the soul and different qualities of the super soul. Okay, so we will discuss that. And in verse 19, Krishna says, only dash can understand the Kshetra, Jnana, and Jnana. You can write it in the chat box, whoever knows the answer. Very good. Wonderful. Shweta Mataji, yeah, my devotees. Only my devotees can understand. Right. Okay. So I will quickly summarize whatever we covered till now. So this chapter starts with Arjuna's 6 questions: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Jnana. Then Krishna starts answering them. He starts with the third question first, okay? And he tells about the Kshetra. That Kshetra is the body and what is its composition, what is it made up of, and all. Okay, from 2 to 7, Krishna describes this Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and Jnanam. He tells about Kshetrajna, that Kshetrajna is the knower of the body, that is the soul within. And also, Krishna says that I am also the Kshetrajna in all the bodies. Okay, and whoever understands this is perfect in knowledge. Then Krishna promises that he will explain 6 topics about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, and then he quotes some authorities also about this. Then he tells about the composition of the Kshetra that Yashita Mataji told us, that it is composed of 24 elements. And, what are the changes happening in this Kshetra, like that. And then Krishna tells us about the process of acquiring knowledge from verse 8 to 12. That is 20 items of knowledge: humility, pridelessness, non-violence, and accepting a spiritual master, worshipping Krishna, like that. Then Krishna goes to the next question, that is the sixth question. Okay, so Krishna first answered question third and fourth. Then he answered question 5, that is Jnanam. Now he tells about question 6, the Gnayam. So again, like Kshetragya, we have soul and super soul in Kshetragya. Similarly, Gnaya also, we have soul and super soul. So he describes about soul, how it is, beginningless, it is subordinate to the Lord. Okay, it is spirit, all that Krishna tells. And then he tells many, many qualities about the super soul. Okay. The qualities of super soul are mentioned from verses 14 to 18. He tells how Paramatma or super soul is everywhere, and everywhere are his hands and legs. Everywhere are his eyes, heads, and faces. Everywhere are his ears. He's all pervading. He's the source of all senses. And yet he's devoid of material senses. He's unattached, though he is the maintainer of all. And he is the master of three modes, yet he is transcendental to them. He is outside and inside of all moving and non moving beings. He moves and he doesn't move. He is subtle. He is far and he is also near. He is never divided, although he appears to be divided. And he is the maintainer of all beings. And he is the destroyer also. He is the source of all light in all luminous objects. He is beyond darkness. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and is the goal of knowledge. And he is situated in everyone's heart. So this is all about super soul as Gnaya. Okay. As Kshetragya, we saw that he knows all the bodies and he's situated in all the bodies. As Kshetragya, we understood that about the super soul. But as Gnaya, we need to know many more things about super soul. Okay. So these are all the things that Krishna tells about the super soul. Next, Krishna goes to the last topic, that is, the question number 1 and 2, Prakriti and Purusha, that we are going to cover today. So I have shared the link in the group. I will share it in the chat also. So you may, open it in your this thing, because I'm using my mobile and it's difficult for me to share here. Okay. We try if I. Okay. Okay, we'll begin with text 20. Okay, so this starts with Prakriti and Purush. Okay, Krishna starts answering that here. Who would like to read the translations? Again, I'm not. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so Meera Mataji, would you like to read? You can unmute and read. Meera Mataji, you raised your hand.
Hare Krishna. So I'm reading from chapter 20.
Yes, I can.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, from chapter 20.
So, verse 20, yes.
Okay. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and modes of matter are products of material nature. By the knowledge, just the text, Mataji?
Yeah, just.
Okay.
Sorry.
Text 21. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. Text 22. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to the association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Text 23. Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul. Text 24. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Text 25. Some perceive the supersoul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires.
You can read 26 also, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji. Text 26. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Okay. So, Krishna, what is Krishna telling about Prakriti and Purusha here is Prakriti. What does Prakriti literally means? It means something which can be enjoyed by somebody. Okay. And Purusha means the enjoyer. So here Krishna tells that material nature and living entities should be wait. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Okay, so we understand that living entities are beginningless. Okay, soul is eternal, we know. But then how is material nature also beginningless? Can we discuss that? Would somebody like to explain that? How is material nature also beginningless? We know that, all the time we see something manifesting and unmanifesting. So how do we explain that material nature is also beginningless? Okay, so this point has been addressed in introduction of Bhagavad Gita also by Srila Prabhupada. So material nature is Krishna's energy, right? Krishna, there are three kinds of energies that we hear of. One is the external energy, the marginal energy, and the internal energy. So material nature is the external energy of Krishna. And so as Krishna is eternal, his energy is also eternal. It may manifest at times, it may not manifest at times, but it is beginningless and it is eternal. Okay. And then Krishna tells that their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. So whatever we see, whatever manifestations we see around us are different products of material nature. Okay, so if we go back, like, in the creation, so in the beginning, we have three modes of material nature in unmanifest state, right? So these three modes, they combine. These three modes are goodness, passion, and ignorance, and they combine and they give rise to different manifestations that we see. Okay, how we can understand this is like we have three primary colors, right? We have three primary colors, but a combination of these three colors gives us various other colors. For example, in TV screen, we have, like LEDs and all. So there are only three primary colors which combine and give us different scenes. We see sunrise also, and with those three colors, and with those three colors combinations only, we see night also. Okay, we see a beautiful scenery also, and we see brutal murders also. So like that, we see different scenes just using these three colors in different transformations. So like that, these three gunas, they combine in different ways and give rise to different kinds of bodies that we see around. Okay, so there are 84 lakh different species that we see, and these are all combinations of three modes of material nature. Okay, so I'll just read from the purport what Srila Prabhupada is telling. Both material nature and the living entity are eternal. That is to say that they existed before the creation. The material manifestation is from the energy of the Supreme Lord, and so also are the living entities. Okay, so both are energies of Krishna. Material nature also, and the living entities also. The living entities are the superior energy, and material nature is the inferior energy. But the living entities are of the superior energy. Both the living entities and material nature existed before this cosmos was manifested. Material nature was absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, and when it was required, it was manifested by the agency of the Mahatattva. Similarly, the living entities are also in him, and because they are conditioned, they are averse to serving the Supreme Lord. Thus, they are not allowed to enter into the spiritual sky. But with the coming forth of material nature, these living entities are again given a chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world. Do we understand this? Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is explaining how both material nature and living entities are eternal. Material nature is inferior, living entities are superior energy of Krishna. And before manifestation, both lie in the Mahavishnu. Okay, so at the time of creation, from the Mahavishnu, many universes come out, and along with that, all the jivas with their karmas, they also enter into these universes. Okay, with their subtle bodies and their karmas, they enter into the universes, and according to what karmas they carry, they get different bodies, which are again, as we saw, a combination of the three gunas. Depending on what major guna we cultivated during our past life, okay, we get the next body. Okay, so it is mentioned that if you cultivate mode of goodness, I mean, in the next chapter you will see that if we cultivate the mode of goodness, we are given birth on the higher planets, the bodies which are there in the higher planets, like demigods. And if somebody is cultivating the mode of passion, then he again gets a body that is in this uh, middle planetary systems, the earthly planetary systems. And if somebody cultivates the mode of ignorance, then he goes to the lower planets or to the lower species like animal bodies. Okay, so that is what Srila Prabhupada is telling here, that according to what karmas we have done and what gunas we have cultivated, we get the next body, after we come out from Mahavishnu in different universes.
I will see you tomorrow then. Okay.
Okay. Then nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas a living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. How is nature the cause of all material causes and effects? Now let us see. We talked about, how material nature is beginningless, it is eternal, and manifestation is temporary, right? Sometimes we see, that we see there is earth. From earth, we see a tree comes out. Okay. But then after some time, what happens? The tree dies and it again goes to the earth. So what is the cause here? The earth is the cause. And what is the effect? The effect is the tree. Okay. In a very layman language, I'm telling this. Okay, the topic is very deep, but just to make us understand how the nature is the effect and the cause and the effect. Hmm? Whereas living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. So how does living entity become the cause of his suffering and enjoyments? By his desires. The living entity does nothing what he desires. Okay, and what does nature do? It provides for those desires through the agency of the Lord. Okay, when the Lord sanctions, then the nature provides. For example, if I have a balance of let's say 1 lakh dollars, okay, so then probably I will have certain set of I can get a certain set of facilities in my house. But if I have only $50, so I will have that much only. So like that, nature provides with the different bodies. Okay, if my karma allows, I'll get a body of an ant. If my karma allows, I will get the body of an elephant or a dog or a human. Hmm? So that way, nature is providing with the effects. Okay, whereas living entity is the cause of various sufferings and nature. Now, if I have a big house, then it's on me whether I can be happy in that house or not. Okay, that house itself will not have any suffering or enjoyment, but the living entity will go through the suffering and the enjoyment in this world. Is that clear? Is there any doubt in this? You can give me a thumbs up if you're clear on this. That how material nature is simply providing, it is dead matter. Okay, but the living entity is conscious, so it can experience the suffering and the enjoyment because of his desires. Okay, I'll just read from the purport a little bit. The different manifestations of body and senses among living entities are due to material desire. There are 8,400,000 different species of life, and these varieties are creations of the material nature. They arise from different sensual pleasures of the living entity, who thus desires to live in this body or that. When he is put into different bodies, he enjoys different kinds of happiness and distress. His material happiness and distress are due to his body and not to himself as he is. Okay. It might be more clear to state that this body is the effect of the senses. Okay. So now, as I told you, the topic is deep. So here, Srila Prabhupada is telling that we desire, and from the desire comes the body, right? So when we desire, the three modes and the senses, they then the nature, material nature, it helps us get a body. Now the sum total body and instrument senses are offered by material nature, and as will be clear in the next verse, the living entity is blessed or damned with circumstances according to his past desire and activity. According to one's desires and activities, material nature places one in various residential quarters. What are these residential quarters? These are different kinds of bodies. Okay, the different species that we talked about. Okay, 8,400,000 different residential quarters. The being himself is the cause of his attaining such residential quarters and his attendant enjoyment or suffering. Once placed in some particular kind of body, he comes under the control of nature because the body, being matter, acts according to the laws of nature. Once we have entered that body, we have to act according to that body. If we had a desire to be in the body of a dog, then we have to act accordingly. Once we get the body of a dog, then we are limited to that body. We can only bark, we cannot talk. At that time, the living entity has no power to change that law. Suppose an entity is put into the body of a dog. As soon as he is put into the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He cannot act otherwise. And if the living entity is put into the body of a hog, then he is forced to eat stool and act like a hog. Similarly, if the living entity is put into the body of a demigod, he must act according to his body. This is the law of nature. Okay. So this is Prakriti and the Purusha. Okay. Prakriti is material nature, the body, and Purusha is the Jiva that is in that body, that is residing in those residential quarters. Okay. The different species that we have in those different species, the Jiva is living and experiencing suffering and enjoyment. Right. Then going further, text 22. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Hmm. Okay, so we just discussed that. Now, does the soul become that body? No, but it is very much limited by that body. Okay, he has to act according to the limitations of that body because he has acquired that. How does this happen? Because the soul now starts identifying with that body. For example, like if we go to a theater, है ना, and we are watching a movie, what happens after some time? We start identifying with some character, some hero or some heroine like that. And now when that heroine is crying, we are also crying. When she's feeling sad, we are also feeling sad. So and when there is something to be very joyful about, we also become very joyful about that. Why does this happen? Because we have started identifying with that character. We are not that character. As soon as we move out of the movie theater, we are going to dissociate. But then for that time, we are identifying with that character. So like that, when we get a body, we start identifying with this body and we don't want to part with this body, even if it is a body of a hog or of an ant, of a cockroach. Whatever body we have, we don't want to part with it because we are identifying with that body. Okay. So again, I will read something from the purport. This verse is important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another. It is explained in the second chapter that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another just as one changes dress. This change of dress is due to his attachment to material existence. As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. Due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, as a bird, as a worm, as an aquatic, as a saintly man, and as a bug. This is going on. How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to association with different modes of nature, as we just discussed. Okay, like if somebody associates with the mode of goodness, he gets a body of a demigod in higher planets. Yeah? And if one associates with the mode of passion, he gets birth here in this earthly kingdom. And if one associates with the mode of ignorance, he gets birth in the lower species or in the lower planets. So, like that. One has to rise, therefore, above the three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the signs of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long cherished desire to dominate material nature, and gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. Okay. Okay, we'll go to the next verse, 23. Now, this is a very important verse. Can you please repeat after me? I will just read and you will repeat after me. Upadrishta anumanta cha
उपदृष्टा
अनुमन्ता
अनुमन्ता
च
arta bhokta maheshwarah
भर्ता महेश्वरः
परमात्मेति चापि उक्तो
परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो
देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः.
देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः.
Okay, very nice. So this is about the second Purusha. Okay, we discussed about the Jiva, how it takes on a body and how he becomes the cause of his own suffering and enjoyment, and how he desires and gets a body. All that we discussed. How he is beginningless. Now we are talking about the second Purusha, who is the Param Purush, who is the Paramatma. Okay, Purusha Paraha. We see the word used as Purushaha Paraha, not just Purushaha. So that means there is something different in this Purusha. So who is he? He is the super soul. Like we had two Kshetrajñas, two Gneyas, now we have two Purushas. The soul and the super soul everywhere. Okay. So Kshetra, we had two Kshetrajñas, soul and super soul. We had two Gneyas, soul and super soul, and now we have two Purushas, soul and super soul. We discussed about the soul. Now we are discussing about the super soul. We see that there are 5 qualities mentioned in this verse about the super soul. Okay, so as Gneya, we heard so many qualities about the super soul. How he is undivided, how he is near and far, how he is the object of knowledge, how is the light, like that, है ना? So now we are discussing about the super soul as Purusha. So what are the 5 things about super soul as Purusha? What he is the Upadrishta. Okay, so what does Upadrishta mean? Who is the overseer? That means whatever we are doing, he is watching. And he is the witness to whatever we do. Upadrishta and then Anumanta. What does Anumanta mean? Anumanta means permitter. Okay, so he, whatever we want to do, until he permits, we cannot do. Next is Bharta. Right? Updrishta Anumanta cha Bharta. Bharta means he is the master or maintainer. Now we are Bhritya, he is Bharta. Bhritya means we are being maintained, and he is the Bharta who is the maintainer or the master. Next is Bhokta. Bharta, Bhokta. Bhokta means the supreme enjoyer. We are Bhukta. Bhukta means enjoyed, and Bhokta means the enjoyer. Okay, so the Jiva or the Prakriti is Bhukta, but the Lord, Super Soul, the Param Purusha, Paramatma is the Bhokta. And the last is Maheshwaraha. Maheshwara means Maha Ishvara. Maha Ishvara means he is the supreme controller. He is the supreme Lord. We are all tiny Ishvaras. We control little bit here and little bit there. We control our kids like that. If we are at our workplace, we may control some juniors like that. So we may be little Ishwaras, but we are not Maha Ishvara. Maha Ishvara means somebody who is not controlled by anybody else. So they are, that is only Krishna, Maha Ishvara. So like that, the 5 qualities that are mentioned about the Param Purush here, or the Paramatma or Super Soul, are Updrishta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, and Maheshwara. Can we write it in the chat box? What are the 5 different qualities of Purusha mentioned? So I know that you're hearing. You can write it in the you can just write from the translation, like the overseer, permitter, like that. Or you can write in the Sanskrit also. At least one. Please write in the chat box. Oh, very nice. Bhokta, overseer, permitter, master, enjoyer, supreme lord, overseer, permitter, master, enjoyer, right? Controller, yes. overseer, permitter, master, supreme enjoyer, the supreme lord. Bhokta, yes, Bhokta, Bharta, Maheshwara, right? Very nice. Okay. Okay, so I'll just read from the workbook a little bit. The individual soul enjoys the activities of a particular field, but the super soul is present not as finite enjoyer, nor as one taking part in bodily activities, but as the witness, overseer, permitter, and supreme enjoyer. His name is Paramatma, not Atma, and he is transcendent. It is distinctly clear that the Atma and Paramatma are different. The super soul, the Paramatma, has legs and hands everywhere. You remember we discussed this when we learned about super soul as Gnaya, that everywhere are his hands and legs. But the individual soul does not. And because the Paramatma is the Supreme Lord, he is present within to sanction the individual soul's desiring material enjoyment. Permitted. है ना? If we desire something, it has to be permitted by Krishna. Then only we can achieve that. Without the sanction of the Supreme Soul, the individual soul cannot do anything. The individual is Bhukta or the sustained, and the Lord is Bhokta or the maintainer. There are innumerable living entities, and he is staying in them as a friend. Okay. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let us go to the next verse, 24. Here, Krishna tells the one who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. So Krishna is again, making a promise here, right? We have many promises from Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So this is one promise that if one understands this philosophy concerning material nature, living entity, and the interaction of modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. So who all are ready now for attaining liberation? Who all have understood this material nature, living entity? Because there's a very nice promise Krishna is making. You can raise hands if you're ready for liberation now. Understanding chapter 13. It's a very technical chapter, and like I understand it's a little difficult to understand because of many technicalities. Okay, so what does Krishna promise? He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position, whatever position he may be in right now. But he will not take his birth again. And what is the condition? That he just has to understand the philosophy concerning material nature, living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature. Okay. So he makes this promise, a similar promise in verse 19 also in this chapter. Okay. Okay, next going to 25. Now, how do we perceive this Purusha, Param Purush or Paramatma or Super Soul? For that, Krishna tells that some perceive the Super Soul within themselves through meditation. That is, they do dhyana and then they try to meditate and then they get to see the Lord, Paramatma in their heart. When we read about Gnaya, we read that he is in everyone's heart, right? So if we meditate and, there is some process, if we go through that process, we may be able to see Paramatma within our hearts. So that is one process. Others through the cultivation of knowledge. Okay, so we saw that Kshetra is made up of 24 elements, right? As Yashita Mataji told. So if we go through that process, where are we in these 24 elements? If we go through that process of knowledge, we get to understand that we are not anything in these 24 elements. We are something different from these 24. So who are we? We are the Jiva or the soul. So that is the 25th element, we can say. And then we know that we are not the controller of the body or not the controller of anything. I mean, we have so many things that we cannot control, right? So who is that who is controlling everything? That is the super souls. That becomes the 26th element. So if we go through that path, that is known as Sankhya, or through the Jnana Yoga, cultivation of knowledge, right? So through that also, we can reach the super soul. That is another way. And so one was through meditation, because Lord is in the heart. We go through meditation and we see the Lord through that meditation. The other way is through the cultivation of knowledge. When we, go through Sankhya, we analyze the body. It is made up of 24 elements, but I'm not any of them. Then, I come to the conclusion that I'm something different. I am the Jiva. Okay, then I'm the Jiva, but then I'm not controlling everything. Then who is it who is controlling everything? That is the Supreme Lord. We get to know the Super Soul through that knowledge. Then there are still others who go through working without fruitive desires. So that causes purification, and again it leads to jnana. Okay, so that mainly these two ways, dhyana and jnana. Through them we may approach the super soul. Then, but that may not be possible for everyone, right? To go through meditation and through all this process of knowledge, it may not be possible for everyone, especially in this age of Kali Yuga. It's very difficult. So Krishna tells another method in text 26. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. So that is the process of a very wonderful process of hearing. We hear from others and we learn about the Super Soul. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. So this is the path I think that we all are following, we all can follow. It's possible for us in this Kali Yuga. So I'll just read from the translation a little bit. Okay, so this verse is particularly applicable to modern society, because in modern society there is practically no education in spiritual matters. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there is no knowledge of philosophy. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there is a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing, because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress. Especially, according to Lord Chaitanya, if he hears the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls and gradually become able to understand everything. The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Okay. So hearing is very important, and through hearing also, so we heard of three methods. One was dhyan, second was jnana, and third was just by hearing, which is most suitable for all of us. Okay, we'll go to the next set of verses. 26th. Who would like to read the translations? You can raise hand. Okay, before we go to the next portion, is this portion clear? Who is Purusha? What is Prakriti? What are the two kinds of Purushas? Is that clear? Is there any question in that? Okay, so we can go to the next portion. Nirmala Mataji. Okay, let me brief what we are going to read now. We discussed about Prakriti, Purusha and their union in verse 20 to 26. Now in the next portion, 27 to 35, we are going to learn about the Jnana Chakshu. Krishna tells about Jnana Chakshu, the vision of knowledge. Okay, so because Krishna has answered all the questions that Arjuna had asked. What is Kshetra? What is Kshetrajna? What is Prakriti, Purusha, Jnana? Everything has been answered. Now, if we understand these 6 topics, that is the vision of perfect knowledge. If we understand and we clearly understand who is Purusha, who is Prakriti, and who, like the 3 things: body, soul, and super soul. If we know this distinction, we don't confuse that, is the soul the body? Is the body the super soul? Is the super soul the soul? If that confusion is not there, that means we have the perfect vision of knowledge. So that is Gyan Chakshu. Then we can see things as they are, see things very clearly. Okay. So, okay. Please read. Nirmala Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. O
Hare
chief
Krishna.
of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Text 28. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. 29. One who sees the supersoul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. 30. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. 32. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. 33. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. 34. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. 35. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. So in this section, Krishna is talking about the Jnana Chakshu, how we should see things as they are. Okay. So first of all, he tells that, how everything that we see, moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Do you understand this? How everything we see is a combination of, like there are moving things, like we have, our body, and, humans and animals, they are moving. Plants, they are not moving. But everything we see is a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Because there is a Jiva inside, and then there is the body. Kshetra, body is the Kshetra, and the Jiva is the Kshetrajna. And also the super soul is there, the Kshetrajna, right? So even if we see that apparently dead things, even those things have a combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Who is the Kshetrajna in dead bodies? Or you can say, like, let us say, my pen, my mobile. If we see that also, there is a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Who is the Kshetragya in them? Who can tell? Anybody? Super soul. Yes, wonderful. Because super soul is present everywhere. Okay, so even in apparently dead bodies, the super soul is present. So like that, everything we see is a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya, right? In the next verse, Krishna is telling, one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees, right? So for this, like, we can understand how that example of two birds, so they are always together in the tree. Like that, the soul and super soul are always present in the body, and when the body gets destroyed, these two are not destroyed. They are eternal. They do not die. Okay. So this is the vision that Krishna is giving us. We must understand this. So how soul is indestructible, how super soul is indestructible, how body is destructible, how body becomes unmanifest after a certain time. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. This is such a solace, right? when we know the super soul is always present with us. So we will not degrade ourselves by our mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. He knows that his friend, Suhridam, best friend, is always with him. So, like that, we get a vision where we do not degrade ourselves but elevate ourselves to the transcendental destination, to Krishna. Okay. Next, Krishna tells that one who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the soul, that the self does nothing, actually sees. Okay. So, how do we understand this? That all activities are performed by the body. To understand this, let us say, if I say that, oh, you sing so well, or you dance so well. So, who is doing all these activities? Is the soul doing all these activities? No. It is because of the body. If you are in an ant body, can you sing very well? No, because we are limited by the body. Because the body is carrying out all those activities. So, like that, it is being said that one who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So, what does self do actually then? Self is not the only doer, right? So, what does self do then? The self desires. That is what self does. Self means soul here, Jiva. So, Jiva desires something, and we are provided with the body according to the sanction of the Lord. And then that body carries out everything, performs all the activities. Right? Okay. Going to text 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities. So once we are situated in this knowledge, we know that there are different bodies, but there is one supreme soul, and there are different different souls who are part and parcels of Krishna. We get an equal vision for everyone. So, when a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Brahman conception means he gets to understand how every jiva is spirit and how every jiva is part and parcel of Krishna. So, he will get an equal vision. He will not discriminate that, oh, this is, this animal I can kill and eat, and this animal, this human being is my brother. Like that, he will not make any differences. He will know that all the jivas are Krishna's parts and parcels, and they are all equal in that sense. Okay. 32. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So, how do we understand this? That it is not entangled, it is in the body, and we suffer so much, we enjoy so much. How do we see that it is not entangled? To explain this, Krishna will give some analogies. Okay, so let us see what analogies Krishna is giving in this. Krishna says that the sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Can you give me some other example where we see that the two elements are not mixing because of their different natures?
Oil and water.
Yes, exactly. Oil and water will not mix because they are different in their natures. So, like that, because spirit is different and body is different, body is made up of, yes, okay, electronic and software. Yeah. So, like that, because the body is made up of material elements and the soul is made of spirit, they don't mix. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Another analogy that Krishna gives to explain about the soul is, O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Okay. So here the soul has been compared to sun. Like sun will illuminate the whole universe, like that the soul illuminates the whole body. By what? Like the sun illuminates with light, and the soul illuminates by consciousness. So the body becomes conscious only when soul is there. The universe becomes, bright and full of light only when sun is there. So like that, body is conscious only when soul is present. Okay. The last verse. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage and material nature, attain to the supreme goal. This is how Krishna concludes this chapter by explaining how we must know the difference between the body and the knower of the body. There are two knowers of the body, the soul and the super soul. So if we know all that, okay, then we attain to the supreme goal. Is that clear? Do you have any questions in this part? The Jnana Chakshu? Reena Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, fascinating
Hare-
discussion and really, really helpful. I have a question, and I think I probably sorted it out while you were describing. Material nature and modes of material nature are both part of the subtle body, right?
Mm-hmm. Material
Is
nature
that
makes
correct?
up both. Material nature will make both subtle and gross also.
And gross also.
Yeah, because gross is a manifestation of the subtle only, na? Because initially, when we talk about creation, we have Mahatattva in the beginning. Okay, when the manifestation takes place, first of all, we have Mahatattva, which is a very, very subtle form of material nature. Okay, and then from Mahatattva, we get false ego. Okay, and then we get the three modes of material nature in the unmanifest state, and then slowly the gross things begin. First intelligence, that is also subtle, mind also subtle, and then we get different senses, sense objects, and it's a complex topic, but then we know that this ahankar, this false ego, when it combines with the mode of goodness, then it gives rise to mind. Okay, when this false ego or ahankar, when it mixes with the mode of passion or rajoguna, it gives rise to different senses and intelligence. When this false ego, which is very, very subtle, combines with the mode of ignorance, it gives rise to the five gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this is all explained in Bhagavatam. It's a little deep and complex topic, so I don't think we will go into details of that for now. But this is how manifestation takes place. Material energy is very, very subtle, and then Mahatattva, and like that false ego then combining with these three different modes of nature, and finally giving rise to mind, intelligence, senses, and the gross elements also: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So like that, all the subtle and the gross manifestations are from the material energy.
Excellent. Thank you, Mataji. And I don't think I'm brave enough to go look into the Bhagavatam right now. But is there like any visual that can just summarize, at a very bird's eye view
Okay.
level these concepts?
Yes, I can share. I can share it with you. I mean, I will share with, I think, Yashita Mataji. She can share it in the group. Okay.
Awesome. That'll be very
About
helpful.
how
Thank you,
you want to know
Mataji.
how about the creation of these different things. What I told now, you want to get a visual of
Yes,
that.
because I was just
Okay.
trying to
Right.
get a visual because there's so many different terminologies here. So if
Right.
it's all like in
Right.
a one visual, it's easy to absorb and remember, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I will share. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Chandar Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very good session. Part of you explained, but I'm still not clear about this. When we talk about soul and super soul, Kshetra and Kshetragya during this whole chapter, um, soul is like, soul doesn't desire, my understanding. The desiring comes when 24 elements get together to this material existence, and we desire and we get the next body based on that. Am I
Mm-hmm.
right so far? So my question is, uh, when soul is connected to super soul, why soul has to suffer?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the soul, the only thing that soul does is desire. The only thing that is in our hands is to desire. Okay. So this desire can be either material or it can be spiritual. If we desire material, we get material body and we are, put into this material world. And if we desire spiritual, we are serving Krishna and we are with Krishna, like that. So when we desire material, then according to our desire, we are given a set of subtle body, and according to that subtle body we get a gross body. Okay, so you will see, when you go to chapter 15, Krishna explains that according to what we have in our subtle body, in the mind, we get a certain set of eyes, certain set of nose, how our teeth will be. Because, like, let us say I am very much interested in having, let's say, meat, non-vegetarian food. So if my mind is absorbed in that, it will attract a body that will have certain set of teeth that will be suitable, certain set of eyes, certain set of body that will be suitable for that. So let us say I might get a body of a tiger in my next life, or a lion, because that body is most suitable to eat meat, right? So like that, if we desire according to what we have in our mind, we attract a certain set of body. Okay, just like according to what balance I have in my bank, I can buy a residential house accordingly. Okay, if I have, a very little amount, then I may go for a 1 BHK or 2 BHK house. But if I have a lot of money in my account, I can buy a penthouse, so like that, according to what my desires are, what my karmas are, what mode I have cultivated, I get a particular set of body. Okay, so that is the role of material nature. It provides for our desires. Desire we do. That is the only thing we do, actually, the soul.
So it
Okay,
means
now why? Hmm. Hmm.
it means soul gets polluted then.
Conditioned, yes, conditioned. Now let us say, coming to your next part, why does it do that? And why does it identify with that body then? Like we just discussed, if we go to a theater, and we are watching a movie, we get so absorbed in the movie that we start identifying with that character, right? As soon as we come out of the theater, then we are able to, disentangle. We are able to do that. But that is also in our hands now. If we want, we can just move out of the theater and get disentangled. But then we choose to be in that theater, lights are off and we are identifying with that person, like that. So like that, we start identifying with this body that we have. Now we identify so much. Like, for example, if there's a pig, the pig will eat stool. Now if we tell, that this is not a nice thing, you shouldn't eat this, but he is so attached to his body, he understand, he doesn't want to give up that body also. So much attachment and so much identification with that, misidentification with that body, that they don't want to give it up. So like that, so we choose that. Now the third part of the question that you said, that why is it, even when the super soul is there, why do we get entangled, so let us consider, in this material world also this happens all the time. There are so many people who are so rich, so many fathers who are so caring, so loving for their children, but still the child chooses to leave the parents and go. This happens, right? He knows he gets all the facilities at home. His father is good. He's always with him. He's helping him. But still he chooses sometimes to leave the father and go. Right? So like that, there are some rebellious souls. Yeah, as you said, polluted, conditioned. So they leave and they turn and go. But the super soul will never leave. So like a best friend, like a suhrid, he will always be with them. Does that make it clear, Mataji?
Yes, it is, but it's very it's
Yeah.
not touching dot to dot like soul gets polluted because of this 24 elements of the elements.
No, the 24 elements we are getting provided because of our desires. It is not getting polluted because of those 24 elements. No, but we are being provided with those elements. Now, see, let us say if a person is getting drunk, okay, we have an option whether to take alcohol or not to take alcohol. Okay, so that is in our hands. We can choose that. We cannot blame alcohol for polluting us because initially it is our desire, right? So like that we choose to be away from Krishna, and then according to our desire, material nature just provides us with something, and then once we get into that body, then we are limited by that body. We choose to take alcohol, and when we are under the effect of that alcohol, then we can't help it. Then alcohol will speak, right? So like that, when we get inside a body, that body will act. Now we have to be under limitations of that body now. Just like we chose to take alcohol and we came under the effect of that alcohol. Now we say that this person is so good, but by the effect of alcohol he did this. He talked so rudely, or he made that accident, or he murdered somebody. Because of the effect of that alcohol, he became so contaminated by that alcohol. But then that he could have chosen not to take alcohol, right? So that initial choice or desire is in our hands. But if we desire and we get into that problem, then we can't just blame the alcohol for that, or the material nature for that, or the 24 elements for that. We chose to get those 24 elements for a particular set of body, right? Does it
Yeah.
make
Yes, it's more clear now. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji, for your very wonderful question, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, any more questions, or we can end here? And I'm very sorry that you had to bear with me today because Lalitangi Mataji is traveling. So hopefully from next session, she'll be taking up the sessions. Okay. So, okay. So okay. Srivatsa Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna
I had a
Prabhuji.
question. I had a question about the concept of stillness, and
Okay.
as you're moving through society, applying
Mm-hmm.
and executing this concept, how it
Mm-hmm.
applies to growth, basically. Because I mean, it's one thing to attend lessons, etc., etc., but as you integrate these concepts into your life, they
Mm-hmm.
begin to, you begin to establish a very personalized relationship with the Lord, right?
Right.
So, and this could include, as you're driving by, um, mm, like I don't know, sometimes while I'm driving by, you finish work, I come back, and then you begin to see Maya for what it is. And not only do you see Maya for what it is, you also
Mm-hmm.
begin to notice macro patterns in the way systems work, in the way people move, in the way, and then the illusion shows itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you touched upon Brahman realization. The very
Mm-hmm.
crux of Brahman realization is stillness, correct?
Right.
The
Yes.
regulation of prana.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Not
now,
only. Mm, yeah.
hmm,
Okay, Prabhuji. So I'll not be able to expertly answer that, but let me try. So stillness, it is not just a mechanical thing that we become still and we control some airs in our body and we become still like that. But it is also an understanding. how.
It's a rasa also, right? So you need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fall in love in it so you can fall again and again into it and continue.
Yes, yes, yes. So
It's
at
an
the level
acquired
of
taste.
consciousness, yeah, we understand through this chapter, we understand what is body, what is soul, and what is super soul. And how, like we saw that how we are, once we enter into a set of body, how we are being forced to act according to that. How these three gunas, when you go to the next chapter, we will see how these gunas bind us, how they are so, Prabhupada will repeatedly tell in purports that how we are under the spell of these gunas. So once we get this understanding, we develop a sense of stillness. One, because we know that we are, why are we so impatient in our lives? Because we think that we are the controller, we are enjoyer, but we are not able to do this thing, and we are not able to enjoy like that. So these are the concepts that we have in our minds. But then when Krishna says bhokta ram yagna tapasam sarvalokam heshwaram, so when Krishna says that I am the bhokta, we saw just now that he's the witness, he's the permitter, updrishta anumantacha bharta bhokta maheshwara, everything is he only. Na? He is the bharta, he is the maintainer, he is the overseer, he is the permitter, he is the Maheshwara, he is the Maheshwara. Now we are not, we fight over things that, this is my property, this is brothers fight and they kill each other, and all that restlessness is there because of lack of this understanding that we are not the Ishwaras. No, Maheshwara, Krishna is the Maheshwara. And he is the one who is maintaining us. He is the one who is our best friend. So that gives a sense of stillness. And then when we know that we are not this body, we are the soul. Again, that gives a sense of stillness because we know that we are eternal. Now, the problem is that we, as you said, Maya is there, and we look at people. But when we repeatedly read this, and we chant and we understand the relationship with Krishna, we become more stabilized. We become more still, and we become more forgiving, as we see that, like we considered that example of how under the effect of alcohol we may behave in a certain way. Now a person who is not drunk can understand that this person is under the effect of alcohol, and because of that he is acting in the way he is acting. Now, it is not that we are not going to blame that person now and we are going to, forgive that person for all the wrong that he has done. He has made some accident or he has, killed somebody. We are going to forgive him. Not like that. He needs to be punished.
Mhm.
But we do get an understanding that it was because of the effect of alcohol that he did this.
But
In that
all
sense,
these,
uh,
like we have transcended this, Mataji. I'm sure 99% of the devotees here, Sangha, are non-alcoholics.
mm.
So once you transcend
No,
these examples
no, no,
that
no,
regular people, the masses, indulge in, you
no, no,
begin
no.
to go into. Sorry.
No, no, that is not the point I'm making, Prabhuji.
Mm,
I'm making the point that, like that, we must understand that we are
mm.
all under different gunas. Okay, so these, now compare this alcohol to a guna. How this guna binds us? Somebody is under the mode of goodness, somebody is under the mode of passion,
But you
and
can
somebody is
toggle,
in the
na?
mode of ignorance. Hmm?
Many yogis, they can toggle between gunas. It's not like they're rooted in one. Similarly, states of consciousness, when you're still, it's basically the meditative process is what you face a mirror. You have a mirror and you begin to examine yourself in a very, very deep way, in a very, very fine way. And through this fineness, you can tweak things. And as you begin to tweak things, it's trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, so if I do this,
Mm-hmm.
then quality of consciousness changes. I'm able to perceive this. Then you begin to integrate. Like growth, I think sometimes we think is a very, very uh, like a set of stairs. Step number one, step number two, step number three, step number four. This is, but the
Mm-hmm.
actual yogic process is a very integrated process. It's a fluid
Mm-hmm.
process. It's not a rigid process where you are
Mm-hmm.
learning also, you're realizing also, there's
Mm-hmm.
bhakti also, and then there's grace from the Lord also. So when you're actually being sincere and you do this, when you walk this path, Then I'm saying ki, because I just experienced today, I was trying to execute it while I was moving through life. It's not just I come into my home and I sit and I chant. No, I want to integrate it into life. I want to execute it through life, so that I can sustain that state of consciousness. So that's why, and stillness seems to be the blueprint.
Yeah. So
Stillness.
for,
That's
for
why
that
I
we
asked you,
need to
Mataji.
understand. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the knowledge that Krishna is giving. Because based on that only the stillness can come. If we don't have this knowledge, then we will always be restless if we don't know these facts. And only when we know these facts can we at a point realize them. First we should know the theory, then only the practical will come. Simply without any knowledge, we may not be able to realize anything until we have learned a little about it. We have heard about it. Know that we are not this body. Animals cannot understand, but humans can. Humans have that consciousness. So, as you said, it's a very good practice. Not just to learn the theory, but apply it in practical also. So, definitely, when we repeatedly hear this, read this, and when the situation comes, then we are able to apply it. We are able to recall that this is what Krishna was telling, and this is how it is actually is. This chapter, when I read this chapter first time in details, it changed so much in me, because there is so much in detail how Krishna is telling how what the body is, what Kshetrajna is. This all knowledge does help in all this, how to be still. That is what Krishna is
Because
telling in the last verses, the Gyan Chakshu. We have that vision. We look at the world through those eyes of understanding. We don't get agitated after that.
yes. Thank you, Mataji. Very good lesson. Thank you, Shubhratri.
Shubhratri, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mataji is from India, so it's early morning there for her, right?
Yes.
This is a very
Okay.
special, like you've been conducting it 5:30 India time, and I listen to your other group as well. And
Bhagavad Gita.
you say you're very humble when you say that you're still learning. There's so much to learn from you, and I'm very grateful for that.
No,
In fact, you were
very
covering
good.
chapter 4 in the other group. Even that
Yes.
had one shloka that says that one who understands this transcendental nature of mind will
Yeah.
be liberated. I don't have a handle on which exact verse that
Yes.
was, but so
Yes.
well explained. I mean, we really enjoyed it, and thank you for covering in the early hours in the morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for encouraging me. But yeah, I'm very, very junior, and thank you for bearing up with me. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so can we end the session now? Okay. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant koti Vaishnavrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, all devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna.